Hello, welcome to another episode of Tower Duo. So I am Andrew, and of course, with me today is Connor, just like always. And today
Mhm.
we're going to be talking about Pokemon as a multimedia franchise. So, of course, we have the parts of Pokemon that we're all familiar with, but then there's a lot of other things, and they all have to generally agree with each other in terms of how things work, unless the mechanic of a specific thing is not compatible with other things. And we're also going to be defining canon in Pokemon.
Yeah.
So that is essentially our goal.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like Andrew was saying, like there's definitely a lot of different sources that you can look at for Pokemon. Like obviously you have the games, obviously you have the anime, but there's a lot, there's a lot of different places that Pokemon has gone over the years. Like you have spin-off games that are like kind of in universe, and then you have spin-off games that are like kind of a different part of the universe, like I guess like Mystery Dungeon or Ranger. Like this wouldn't really happen in the actual games, but like it's kind of imagine a place. And then there's even the spin-off games that it doesn't really have much at all to do with the games, except for the fact that like the Pokemon are there, like say Snap or like I don't know, Cafe Mix, which I don't know. I've never really played, so I couldn't really give you much on those, but yeah. So I don't know. Where do you think we should get started?
Well, one interesting phenomenon that's been happening recently, especially during the pandemic, is that Pokemon trading cards have shot up in value. People are trying to buy
Huh?
them as rapidly as possible, willing to pay tremendous amounts of money
Mm-hmm.
for collections, and oftentimes people just buy the entire collection, or when they get some in stock at a store, a couple of people will be all it takes to buy the entire store's stock,
Yeah.
and then it will be gone until they get in the next shipment. And
Mm.
so that's definitely an interesting phenomenon because the Pokemon trading card game hasn't really exploded like the video games and the
Yeah.
anime. It's really like it's one of the bigger trading card games, but it hasn't like made trading cards bigger
Mm-hmm. And
essentially.
like as you're saying, it's not really about like the trading card game itself. It's just about how collectible they are, right?
Yes, that's definitely true. People are collecting them to collect them, not collecting them to put together the best possible deck or what
Mm.
have you. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something that we're seeing. And
Mm.
what I think is interesting is that for a couple of years there was actually a trading figure game. So
Really? Wait,
yeah,
for Pokemon?
yeah, for
Really?
Pokemon.
Huh.
It was only it for like generations 1 and 2, I believe. And then after
Yeah.
that it sort of stopped. And because at that point when they kind of thought that Pokemon might end, um,
Mm.
there it was sort of like, well, you could have like the base game that's Kanto, and then like the expansion that's Johto, and that's sort of like the framework that everything sort of fit into at that time
Huh.
until Generation 3. That's sort of how things are viewed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because,
that's really weird. I've never heard about that before.
yeah, there was a period, um, like right around that time when a lot of people thought the Pokemon was just gonna be like a fad, like hugely
Mm.
popular for a brief amount of time. And I would say that by the time Generation 4 rolled around, people realized that Pokemon was here to stay. But I think in the
Yeah.
meantime, they were trying all these different things of like, what can Pokemon be in terms of like the next thing, and that's one of the things that they tried was the trading figure game, and
Huh.
there was like actually like a mechanical component where you could like spin them or whatever, and so that was something they did.
Weird.
That was also around the time when some of the less conventional Pokemon side games were coming out.
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah,
the
there was
Coliseum games.
yeah, the Coliseum games. And then what about there was the Snap, the first one.
Yes.
And then you had Puzzle Party. I've definitely heard a lot of things about that. Or like Puzzle League or something.
Yes.
Uh, where it was basically just like like basically Dr. Mario.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know there was a Dr. Mario clone that they made, um,
Mhm.
which they're allowed to make because of course like Nintendo owns that, and it would be very easy for them to like license that enough,
Yeah, I guess so.
um, where they'd be allowed to admit that it's a direct copy. Um,
Yeah.
and
I don't
there's a
know.
lot of stuff like that going on.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, but I guess we can talk a lot about spin-offs. Like we haven't really
Yeah.
covered spin-offs really at all in Tower Duo before. But definitely a spin-off that I've been like playing a lot of as of late is definitely Mystery Dungeon. Like I didn't really know about it much before, but then when Mystery Dungeon like DX came out, like the remake, I tried that out and I really liked it. And then so I've been kind of messing around with Mystery Dungeon games. And for those, like when you look at a Mystery Dungeon game and then you compare that to what you see in the main series games, it doesn't really make very much sense because uh, you just have this entire civilization that has had absolutely no human intervention, but the Pokemon can just do everything on their own. Like they don't need trainers to tell them to use moves or anything. Like they're fully capable, fully present, and can like even like they can build buildings. So it's just like you've never really seen things like that before without like a human in charge.
Yeah, so that's where we really get into like the alternate universes type of thing, and
Hmm.
like Pokemon many worlds theory. And I think that that's something interesting that you brought up, is that like that is
Hmm.
clearly a Pokemon world in which those things which you described are very real and very constant, and not being tied down by human civilization. Who knows how long that's been going on?
Yeah.
Obviously, we have a general sense of like human civilization has only been like advanced for a couple of thousand years, but who's to say that Pokemon in the Mystery Dungeon games haven't been advanced for tremendously longer, and maybe they lost some technology. Maybe this
Huh.
is set in like a Poke Dark Ages sort of,
Yeah.
um, where they don't have um, like all sorts of 5,000 IQ psychic types running around and creating a utopia.
I mean,
Because
well,
that's what it
they
would be if
they
Pokemon
do
were like
have
this.
them running around. That's the thing. Like,
Yes.
they exist, and you can you can interact with them. You can get them on your team. You can fight them. But I don't know. Like, definitely something that stood out to me with those games is that everyone knows what a human is, but you never see a human. You know, like so
Mm.
the main character for each game, at least the ones that I've played, starts off saying, "Oh gosh, I'm a human, but I got turned into a Pokemon." And then, you like meet your partner and he's like, "You used to be a human? That's crazy." So they know that humans exist.
Or existed. Is there any evidence to suggest that those games, and I know nothing about them, um, is there any evidence to suggest that those games could be in a post-human future where Pokemon sort of have to like figure out how to like rebuild after
Mm.
humans have gone extinct, and like all the Pokemon that are smart enough to remember humans and whatever um, they don't really know how to take care of humans, but they know how to take care of Pokemon. So maybe that's how they're transforming humans into Pokemon, just to like keep
Yeah.
them alive in
I
some
mean,
form.
well, okay, so there And okay, I'm trying not to spoil anything here, but in Explorers of Time and Darkness, it's kind of revealed that humans were working with Pokemon in the future, not in the past, but in the future. But that was just like one specific instance. It isn't to say like they didn't used to work with them, but it's just like, oh yeah, a human was working with, Pokemon in the future.
Okay, yeah, and that just really comes down to like I've played main series games and I've watched a little bit of the anime, and
Hmm.
that's basically it. I don't really play side games.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
I
really
know, I
know what
know.
that is.
I'm trying to get Andrew to try out Mystery Dungeon, but he hasn't tried it yet.
I
So,
might I might do it at one point.
hmm.
For like a retro review, we'll see. But speaking of the anime and by
uh,
extension the movies,
oh yeah, the
so
movie.
there's obviously a number of differences between the anime and the movies, and also regarding let's say animated content and game content in terms
Hmm.
of what sort of events are happening. Well, not really like the big major events, but the minor aspects, things that are going on, characters seem to be a
Hmm.
big difference. And
Like
so,
between the anime and the movies.
yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
like the biggest one that I'm thinking of is like Red versus Ash. Like Red is like really good as a trainer. Ash is not necessarily
Yeah.
as good. Um
Mhm.
so well, first of all, where do you think the anime and the movies fall in terms of canon, if at
Um.
all, or do you think it's like separate and essentially what do you think is going on there?
Well, I don't think that the anime and movies are like. I don't think that the movies are canon for the anime. And that's not really my opinion. It's something that I heard from just like a YouTube video a while ago. But it definitely lines up with a lot of things that, like, I haven't watched much of the anime either, but there's never any mention of things that happened in movies in the anime. So, like, I don't know, Ash sees Mewtwo and he doesn't remember, all the crazy stuff that happened in the Mewtwo movie. So I don't think that those are happening in the same universe. But I do think that in the movies, you see an Ash that has gone through the anime.
Yeah, so I think that there's really three categories of movies, and I think there was a breakdown by, I believe it was Dobbs,
Okay.
who did this thing. And if it's somebody else, post in the comments, let us know, correct us. We're not perfect. We don't know everything. And it was a breakdown of which Pokemon movies are canon, and there's basically the
Really?
non-canon movies where there isn't really a way to tie them into the anime. There's the canon
Hmm.
movies which could plausibly be tied into the movie. Not enough evidence really either way. There's some that are very close to definite, and then the
Really?
other kind
Okay.
of movie is the recent ones, which are all starting with "I Choose You." It's a
Hmm.
definitely a different continuity, and it's sort of following the same Ash journey, but it's also not really following the same Ash journey.
Weird.
So it's a parallel universe, and those movies have continuity with each other, and they're
Mhm.
all more recent, starting in 2017. So
Huh.
that's essentially where things stand with the categories of movies.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do think it should be said that like things that happen in the anime and in the movies are definitely, definitely, definitely not canon in the games. You can't see something that happened in the anime and say, "Oh, that's canon now." Like, I don't know, Pikachu just destroys a ground type with an electric type move, and it's like, oh, okay, that can happen in the games. Like, no, that can't happen in the games. I'm sorry. But I do think it's worth saying that there is no canon that's like undisputed fact. Like you can look at the I guess what I'm trying to say with this is like you can take the game canon and say, all right, that's what Pokemon would be like in real life, or you could take the anime canon and say the same thing, or heck, you could even take Mystery Dungeon canon and say the same thing. Like it's kind of up to your interpretation which canon is important.
So I would actually argue that the games canon is sort of the highest canon in
Yeah.
terms of just like if there's like a fact about Pokemon, like if the anime contradicts the games, then whatever the games say goes.
Mm.
Like for example, like the fact that like Pokemon can know four moves at a time. That's true in the games. It is definitely not true in the anime. I believe the record is 10 moves used by one Pokemon in one
Wow.
battle. Um,
Yeah.
which obviously, between battles you can change movesets. Um,
Hmm.
so that's a thing in the anime, and so like a fact like that is like the game counts more because it was created first. The anime didn't start for a little bit until
Yeah.
after the games came out.
Like, okay, I follow you there, but like, if the world of Pokemon were to actually exist, like what kind of weird derogatory restriction would that be? That, oh, every Pokemon, no matter who it is, doesn't matter if it's level 1, doesn't matter if it's level 99, can only know 4 moves. Like it doesn't really make much consistent sense in like an actual universe.
I think that in an actual universe, that's I think it's just a method of control. It's like we the humans create the government, we the humans create the Pokemon League. We the humans are the ones that force Pokemon into Pokeballs, and it's not the other way around. Alakazam aren't training humans, but humans are training Alakazam,
Yeah.
and I think that like basically as a means to control and maintain that relationship, it's sort of like one of those regulatory laws,
Hmm.
and or at least that's how I see it would be, and maybe not law, but maybe like Pokemon League statute, like maybe the I think it's like Machamps that help you move into your house at the beginning of Hoenn games. Like
Yeah.
maybe those can know like a couple of moves related to moving in, and then like or like moving stuff.
Yeah.
So like probably like work up
Uh,
rock smash strength, um, probably a couple, probably also brick break because they probably also have to take things down.
yeah.
Um, that's four right there. They probably also have to know. Um,
Seismic toss.
yeah, for when they're building really big things, seismic toss.
Yes.
Sure, and it's like okay, those are not trainer Pokemon. Like those are just utility Pokemon. They're not. So like if you tried to take one of those Machamps and enter it into a like a Pokemon League match, they would just deny you. They're like, no, you have to. I'm just gonna assume that the move deleter is like a magical thing. Like you must go to the move deleter and you must delete moves.
Wow.
Before you can use, you know, a Pokemon like that or something like that. Like it'd be like a regulatory thing, and obviously some of the gym leaders are so scared of the regulators that they don't even give their Pokemon four moves. They just give them three. because apparently
Wow.
because they're so afraid. Because like if a Pokemon like accidentally levels up and learns a move, then you're kind of done for.
Yeah,
Um,
no, you're
it is mostly
man.
earlier gym
What
leaders
a
that
conspiracy theory. It all makes sense.
the Pokemon League rules by fear, and and there's nothing the gym leaders can do. And and just remember that when you become champion.
Oh gosh. Wait, no. You're so right. When you become champion, you just forfeit all your control. You go from the protagonist of the story to just another puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'm sure that all the other Pokemon leagues have cheer people that are so high up that you don't even know who they are, even when you're the champion, right? Because like maybe Chairman Rose is like the only one who's like just not corrupt enough to be like visible in public, and that leads to his downfall. And all the other Pokemon leagues are just so full of corrupt league officials that we don't even see them. I mean, whoever let
Man.
Giovanni become a gym leader, um,
Yeah, who the heck did let that happen? That's so stupid.
I mean, there's a possibility that it was taken over in a coup.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I feel like the amount of evil that Team Rocket has been on the decline. Like as
Mhm.
portrayals of Team Rocket have gone on.
Yeah.
Like like pretty much now Team Rocket is just an anime thing, because other than like when they're making Kanto games like Let's Go, like even in Let's Go, it's not such a menacing threat. But like original
Mhm.
concepts had like half of the Kanto gym leaders be on Team Rocket wielding
Really?
whips.
Wait. Oh, yeah. No, they did
Yep,
used to wield whips. Yeah.
yep. And I think the original point of that was like if it really gets down to it in a Pokemon battle, like you the trainer can like get in there and fight, and it's like, and then they
Uh,
realized that would never get past the people who make game ratings, and like, okay, we kind of need to turn that down. So,
Man, just
which
like
it,
you're in a Nuzlocke and it's just like all your Pokemon faint. It's like it's all down to me.
um, that would be something. If if the Pokemon Red and Blue rated T for teen,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it's like, well, it'd be a very different franchise. We certainly wouldn't have any sort of like let's go type of things that certainly wouldn't have small
Man.
Cynthia.
Yeah, just imagine if Pokemon was just Nintendo's like one like really bad game.
If it went in that direction.
Man.
Like it like it's rated T, but it only missed M by like a little bit. That'd be a very different franchise. Um,
Man, now I'm just imagining what Legends Arceus would look like.
oh, it'd be so different. But there are some Pokedex entries that if you took them literally, I'm pretty sure would cause the games to be rated, if not M, then T.
Yeah,
Because like it's like Macargo or something that can go up to like 18,000 degrees. So
yeah.
we're past the point of third degree burns. We're on like fifth degree burns at that point where your body just
Mhm.
does not exist anymore, and bad things happen. Just,
Yeah, and I mean like some of the entries are like you don't even have to look into them to see how like messed up they are.
oh yeah.
Like I remember like pincers is just like yeah, if you get too close to this thing it'll split you in half. Like it literally says that.
Yep. Yeah,
Like
or there's like, I think it's like some ghost type. I
mhm.
can't remember which Pokemon specifically. That's like if you get like too close to it, or if you like look at it wrong, it just kills you. I think it might be Shedinja. Like if you stare at its back, which has like the void basically. Um,
Weird.
um,
then you just
and
die.
stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so
We
that's another thing to consider. Like even within the games, do we consider the Pokédex to be truthful, or do we
mhm.
consider what we're actually able to see happen to be truthful?
I mean, I feel like you can assume everything in the Pokédex is right unless the unless the actual gameplay proves otherwise.
I,
So
I
like what you said about Megcargo, like you could assume that's right, but then it wouldn't make any sense. Like,
that is,
okay, if this was true, then like the trainer wouldn't be alive right now.
yep,
So obviously that's a bit of a stretch.
yes. I
But
think that of
uh
course it's canon that the Pokédex is written by human researchers and not
mhm.
Arceus. And
Yeah.
as such, it's pretty much an encyclopedia, and they're doing their best, and also I don't think they're really only accountable to like the regional professor, and
Mhm.
sometimes they are the regional professor depending on the situation or depending on how long ago we're talking.
Yeah.
And I think that because of that, there's there's a lot of not necessarily 100% true articles. Because if you think about who the target audience of like the Pokedex is for, it's going to be the people that are doing competitive team building, like not
Mhm.
in the real world, but like people. I'm not
Yeah,
even
in universe.
necessarily sure that it's people like in the Pokemon world who are trying to build a competitive team. I think it's people in the Pokemon world who are trying to determine which Pokemon they want to have to be their servants, or
Mhm.
to have as a pet, or something like that, and
Yeah.
and
I
and
mean,
not the competitive battlers.
I feel like it's kind of just for everyone who
Yeah,
interacts with Pokemon.
yeah,
Like I mean, you see in the anime, which obviously as we discussed, isn't canon in the games, but like carry Pokedexes are just with them.
it is.
So
It is
if you
your
see something in
ID.
the road,
It is your
then like, oh,
ID
I know what this does.
in
Sorry.
in at least Kanto. It is your primary ID. So basically, everyone has to have one, whether you have, um, I guess whether you can, whether you're trying to do the gym challenge or not.
Mhm.
Everybody has to have one, I
Wait,
guess.
really? So
Yeah,
wait, it's a
yeah. It's
where do you
like
see that?
in like one of the first episodes of the anime.
Uh-huh.
Ash is going to a Pokemon Center, and he has to prove that he's not Team Rocket, and he has his Pokedex, and um,
Huh.
that is that is what that particular town's officer Jenny asks for in terms of identification.
Hmm.
And
Weird. I'm sure there's other forms of ID you could show though.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I bet it's like the BMV, where it's like you're allowed to have a birth certificate or a social
Hmm.
security card. Probably not a social security card by itself, but like um or like a passport, or
Hmm.
um places that aren't the BMV would say like a driver's license. Is like accept
Yeah.
so it'd be like acceptable forms of state ID. The the official state ID that you were issued um, by your regional government, other than Unova, because Unova would obviously not have a state issued ID. Um,
Oh.
other acceptable forms of ID include birth certificate, Pokedex, preferably completed,
Just like if it's possible.
if possible. Um, maybe it is something that's like as common as like a driver's license, and maybe it's more like competitive racing, where it's like only a very small percentage of the population is like a competitive race car
Hmm.
driver, but pretty much everyone that's an adult can drive.
Yeah. Huh, yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's something like that, where it's like only a very small percentage of the population is a is actively trying to become champion of their home region, but pretty
Mhm.
much everyone has like something that's like they probably
Like,
didn't give it too many levels, but it's probably something like useful.
yeah,
Like I'm
yeah, no,
thinking
I'm
like
sure
a
like
level
pretty much everyone.
35. Um, yeah, something that's not going to be tremendously useless, but also
Yeah,
not tremendously overpowered.
I mean, well, okay, well, let's think about this a little bit.
Yeah.
So you could technically, if you look at Galar, you could say that you could train a Pokemon to level 100 just by feeding it curry.
That is true. So I guess if you have your Pokemon for
So,
long enough, it's gonna get up there in the levels.
uh-huh. So you
Um,
don't even like you could just have it just be your pet.
you're right.
But I guess just feeding it gives it all the battle experience it would ever need.
Yep. Yep.
See, okay, that's why I don't like the games being a source of primary canon, you know?
Oh
Because
yeah.
like, there's so many things like that that just don't make any sense.
Yeah. That is true. I would say that it is it makes for an interesting universe, and I think that a lot of it has to do ultimately with like hardware limitations, gameplay limitations. You know, they don't want you to take um like how long would it actually like an actual sports season's length of time to um to train your Pokemon
Oh
to
yeah.
league level, you know.
Mhm.
Because like a sports training season, which is basically the equivalent of what this is, it's just your Pokemon training. Like, is a long time for
Yeah.
a video game.
Yeah, no, you're right about that,
Like
and I agree. I feel like a lot of it is supposed to be like, you
mhm.
it's supposed to be up to the player's interpretation. Like,
Yep,
yeah, definitely like the time span.
yep,
Like, I know, I played through Diamond and Pearl recently, and so Flint from the Elite Four, when I battled him, I battled him with Andrew, so he might remember this. But you go up to Flint, and he says, "Oh, it's you. I've been counting the days on my fingers, waiting for you to come back, like
mhm,
waiting to see you again." And so
yep,
you saw him at Sunny Shore City before that, and so he's saying it's been a matter of days since you saw him at Sunny Shore.
yes.
So, even if you went straight from Sunny Shore and then just met Flint, he would. I don't have proof for this, but he would probably still say he's been counting. He's been counting the days. So,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure that they didn't have like multiple dialogue options back then, like they do now. Like just the little
Mhm.
quality of life things like that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely a thing. One other question that this raises is, are levels um canon like like earlier I said like oh you'd probably just have like a level 35 some something that's strong
Mhm.
enough but not like but you didn't put in like constant effort to raise its level. Would that even be a canon thing? It's definitely canon in the anime,
Yeah.
but
I mean, I feel
is that just for the game
obviously
mechanics?
you're not gonna know what level your Pokemon is, and I don't think if you're saying if Pokemon were real,
Right.
it just I really don't think levels make all that much sense. And honestly, I kind of disagree with you in the fact that they might be canon in the anime because learning moves is linked to what level you are. And so I'm sure in the anime they learn moves at the wrong times where it's like, okay, you haven't evolved yet
Mhm.
and you learned this move,
I'm
or
gonna
you
stop you
learned a
for a
move
minute.
that
I'm gonna stop you for a
what?
minute just because there are plenty of characters in the games whose Pokemon know moves or have evolved before
Ooh.
you, the player character's Pokemon, would have the ability to do the same. I'm looking at
Yeah.
you, Lance,
Yeah, no, we are
illegal
looking at
Dragonites.
one.
Um, so
Okay,
so it's
yeah,
not even a
that's
thing
a
in the
fair
games.
one. Mhm.
Levels are definitely canon in the anime, again going back to one of the early episodes where they go to like the Pokemon school, which is basically like it's like you can get all 8 or I should say at least 8, because there are a lot of official gyms in anime Kanto, as we see from Gary with the famous picture where he has 10 badges, only 4 of which are known, like Kanto badges, and even that 4 is questionable. and and you don't even need 10 to begin with. So there's that. But basically you can get 10, or not 10. You can get 8 badges in a region, and that qualifies you for the Pokemon League. Or you can go through like this really difficult school, and graduating also qualifies you to take part in the Pokemon League, which Jesse and James came last and second to last in their class when they were in that. So and there's like this one student who it's like a really hardcore school, so you have to like get the questions right, or they make you run on a treadmill more. And so this one student, and she's like reciting like the moves that Pidgey learns and such, because it's very early on. So it's definitely canon in the anime, and we have to assume that the older anime and the newer anime are in the same canon.
Yeah.
Unless they aren't. Unless each region Ash is actually a different Ash, that like a slightly different Ash.
Well, okay, here's my question.
Yeah.
So, like, is there any way to see what level your Pokemon is? Because it just seems to me like the levels are just a thing that the game uses to tell you how strong your Pokemon is. But it wouldn't really exist. Like, you can't really just say, like, look at a Pokemon and, like, say the anime and be like, oh, yeah, that's level 36. Like, obviously. But since you're playing a game, like, it can just attach that number to it and everything's
right.
fine.
I think that levels work a lot differently in the anime. We know that they exist, but I think they work a lot differently. And I think that it's mainly just more a matter of like colloquial terms, and maybe just like observation. Like I would compare it to being able to lift a certain number of pounds. Like in terms of the real world.
But like, I don't know, if you like obviously a level 50 Groudon is gonna be able to lift up a rock a lot easier than like a level 50 Metapod,
Right. So I think that it's probably like scaled based on the individual species, which is, but then of course like in the anime canon, like one species can have a wide variety of heights, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know, I feel like there could be a level system just to say like, okay, your Pokemon's strong, but like I don't think it should scale between species. Like, I don't know, this is just talking about like what an ideal, like what I think would be ideal, but like like if you tried to scale it to each species, it would just be like a headache at that point. Like, okay, my Pokemon's like level 20 or something, and then like what does that even mean?
Yeah, I get it. It's like, okay, so your Pokemon's level 20. Is that a Magikarp? Is that a Zubat? Or is it or is it like, something actually good? And then there's like evolution levels, and like I feel like in the anime, Pokemon evolve at whatever level it is when the plot needs it to evolve. And, and also it brings up this other question about what exactly do you do if, like, let's say that your Pokemon that you have is is like level 30, and you just
Mhm.
happen to live in an area where leaving town in any direction, which would be all two directions that you can leave town because it's a Pokemon town, um, in all two directions, you just happen to, it's like wild level 45s because it's
Oh
like a
man.
post game. It's like a late game or even like a post game town.
Yeah, no,
Like
I follow you.
you
Well,
can't go anywhere.
here's what you do: you carry a smoke ball and give it to the Pokemon in the front of your party, and then you can just escape for free. It's perfect.
You have some. You make sure you have something with runaway, so you
Yeah.
can just. Then it doesn't matter what level it is.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. Like, we could definitely talk like for for super long about how the way that the Pokemon worlds work in the games doesn't really make very much sense, and how it would actually work in real life. But that if we talked about that the whole time, then I don't really know how many people would be here by the end
Yeah,
because
I know that there's a lot of other very interesting topics to discuss. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I do think that we have been talking about this. We've been going on this tangent for too long. We can go back to talking about things that are not that. So, with that said,
Mhm.
what is the biggest thing that we haven't talked about yet that you feel like fits with this general topic?
Yeah, I mean, like when it comes to connecting different types of like games, I don't know, we could definitely talk about Coliseum and XD, which I okay, so my story with those games is that my older brother played XD back when I was maybe like 8. And that's the only experience that I have with those games, but I watched him every time he played it, and so I definitely know a thing or two about those games. And they function pretty differently from the actual Pokemon games. You have like, well, I watched XD. I didn't watch Coliseum. But the way that XD works is, so you've got your evil organization who is using Pokemon to do bad things, and they're making them into shadow versions of Pokemon, which you can purify, like I guess similar to what you do in Pokemon Go. But you can purify them and catch them and use them on their own. And then you can also, the only way to catch wild Pokemon is to lure them in using bait, which is really weird. And so it's definitely very different from the normal Pokemon games, because it's like you can't just catch anything that you encounter. Like, you're just not allowed to for one reason or another.
But you
And
can
it
move
really,
them into.
wait, what?
Yes, yeah, but even though you can like purify them and catch them like that way, like,
Mhm.
and it's very different from the main series games. You can still move them into main series games, which means that there must be some sort of continuity. Like, it must be canon by
Hmm.
inference.
Yeah, I follow you there. Like, obviously, it's not nearly as big of a contradiction as, like, say, Mystery Dungeon would be. Like, you still have trainers, you still have Pokeballs, um, and you still have the evil team. uh, but I don't know. I guess it's not really a universe difference. It's more of a what you can do in the game kind of difference.
Yeah, so that's maybe more of a thing like how you can catch Pokemon that have come from like an ultra wormhole like in those games. And
Uh-huh.
where that's a different universe, although it's only in the single digit thousands of light years away, so I don't really know how that works. But
We're not gonna go into that.
yeah, yeah, we're not gonna go into that. But point being, that's a different dimension. There's Ultra Megaopolis. Um,
I don't know what
And
any of this means.
okay, so this is just Generation 7 stuff, and basically what happens is you just basically ride on whichever box art legendary you choose from those games. Like you can't
Mhm.
ride on like a previous generation's box art legendary. It's just Solgaleo and Lunala, and
Yeah.
there's this big thing with like the circle pad. It's like a mini game where you just try to go as far as you can. It's where you can catch a bunch of legendaries. It's
Huh.
basically both. It's basically the equal and opposite of the help me out, the like
Dynamax Adventures.
Dynamax Adventures.
Yeah.
It's equal because you can catch a bunch of legendaries after a mini game.
Hmm.
It's opposite because instead of going into the ground, you're going into space. So that is what
Huh.
you can do there.
Okay.
Shiny odds are really good if you get good at the mini game, and you can go far into it. So again, that's like not a very realistic thing. Like what would raise shiny odds like that? I don't know. But point being, it's an alternate dimension. So maybe that's the reason that you can move Pokemon between Coliseum games, and would that be Generation 3?
I think, yeah. I don't know, two or three.
Okay, if it's not 3, then it's 4. So it's definitely 3 then.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh,
They're
yeah, no, it
both,
definitely wouldn't be two. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
Because
it's
you
definitely
can
not
even
four, so it's
you can
three.
even bring like there's the gift Jirachi in one of
Hmm.
those games, I believe, that you can even bring into like modern games. That's the longest journey that a Pokemon can take. Is
Oh,
you
wow.
can go through from those games to Gen 3, and then from Generation 3 all the way up through the generations. Which I have some Gen 3 Pokemon that I am gradually moving through the generations, but I want to get them to beat all the leagues along the way.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that is
Yeah,
what's
no, that's kind of what I'm doing too, but
yeah.
I'm trying to collect as many ribbons as I can,
Okay.
which is definitely a lot harder than just beating the leagues.
That is true.
Yeah, like I don't know, definitely like one specifically that I've been doing that a lot with was like Pikachu. I
Hmm.
just have one Pikachu, and right
Yes.
now it's still only in Gen 4,
I had to
but
help
it
you with
has
that.
like
I
50
remember.
something ribbons. Like it's crazy.
Hmm. It could
Uh,
just be called so many different things when you send it out into battle.
yeah, he's seen many different trainers at this point.
It'll be it's like when it's like when a king or general, or sometimes a general turned king, um
Mm.
it like conquers another place, and they're like the king of this, the king of that, the duke of this, the duke of that, and maybe some other title as well, or like, and then they pass all those things down to their son when the son becomes the next king of that same
Oh
place.
yeah.
It's like, okay, so basically king of list of every single state in whatever that country is. It's like
Well,
so
that doesn't seem
that's
right. Yeah. Yeah, no.
that's what Pikachu's gonna be one day. It's gonna be
Yeah. I
Pikachu
feel like he
the
already is. Like, okay,
but
so I got him in
you
Ruby.
can only have one at a time though.
I bred for him in Ruby so that I can get him to have like the best stats that I could. And to be honest, I didn't do a very good job, but that's neither here nor there. So he went from Ruby and then he went to Diamond and then did a lot of stuff there. And then I know he went to Heart Gold and got some ribbons there. But honestly, only three. Only three trainers so far. Oh, and I did tutoring in Heart Gold too, but yeah, mainly only three trainers. But and he already has like 50 something ribbons. But they definitely toned down the ribbons after Gen 4, so it's not going to be nearly as hard after that. But yeah, I don't know. We don't really have much time left. Do you think we have enough time to talk about defining canon, or do you just want to save that for another time?
I think that we've talked about that a little bit. We've sort of gone a couple different angles, so
Yeah.
that's definitely something that we said
Oh yeah, true.
a good amount of. What I think is interesting is that like you went for like competitive stats on the Pokemon that you were gonna try and like get all the things. I feel like I would have shiny
Oh yeah.
hunted.
Oh,
I
you
would
don't
have
want to shiny.
I would have shiny hunted. I wouldn't have cared about stats. I would have shiny hunted so that I
I
would have had a
mean,
shiny with all those things.
well, okay.
Because that's
So I knew that
objectively more valuable.
he was okay. He has to do a bunch of battle tower work, and I can't just have
Oh.
him like have a
Oh,
bad
well.
personality,
Yeah, if you got
have
to go through all the different
bad
battle towers and
IVs
stuff,
for a
then
battle tower.
yeah, I can understand that. And then it might be
Uh,
necessary.
yeah, and I mean, if shiny hunting in Gen 3,
It's
like,
as hard as
there's a
shiny
reason
hunting.
nobody ever did it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did a full odds hunt
Uh-huh.
in Gen 4, which has the same odds as Gen 3.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was for a legendary, so like
Yeah.
you kind of
Yes, I
had
could
to.
soft reset. Um,
Mhm.
Shadow hunting has gotten a lot easier over time.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
another
my
thing
gosh, it has. Yeah.
that
Like a
we
lot
talked
of
about.
things, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just let's just do a quick rundown of all the things that I like to say during the show. Dun 6 terrible. Um, my favorite side games are Let's Go.
Hey.
What are your favorite thing from season 1? Running gags.
Yeah. Man. Well,
I feel
I
like
don't know.
your thing is sort of like Pikachu.
Oh, that's my thing. I
That
mean,
that's your
okay,
thing. It's just
he's my
Pikachu
favorite.
being great.
He is my favorite, and it's like, okay, I could do this with another Pokemon, but like I could just do it with Pikachu, and I'm like, yeah, why not? I mean, he's literally obtainable in like every single game, so it's not very hard to get one.
Yeah.
But not in Black 2. I'll tell you that much. I had to look that up. But yeah, like I don't know. I feel like I don't have to explain myself that much with that.
Yep. Well, I think just sort of like revisiting like the things that have happened multiple times on the show is just sort of a good way to end this episode, and look forward to future episodes because of course season 2 is just getting started. So we love your feedback, of course, so want to see as many comments as possible. Of course, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe while you're down there. In fact, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to subscribe. 210. If you did not do it, then as punishment, you have to subscribe.
Oh no,
So
that's the worst kind of punishment.
that is your punishment if you do not do exactly what I say.
I mean, hey, you guys, it's on you. Like he gave you the option to subscribe. All you had to do was just press the escape button to exit full screen.
It's one click, or it's one tap if you're on mobile. It's not that hard. Just do it. That said, thank you very much for watching all the way to the end of the video. Don't forget to do all of those things that we've already mentioned. I don't need to mention them again. You heard me the first time. Tower Duo out.